Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Tony Scaponi on Ruby's Storm, a list that's been constantly evolving for him as he puts in a whole bunch of effort to the mono red Pursuit of Storm Magic Online versus Fee on Slivers. They've heard of both of these players before. Tony, very active in Magic Online under the name Tony Scaponi, and Fee, of course, his generosity helped spawn our webcam series during the pandemic, and we get to see him for the first time on camera here playing slivers, or meat hooks as it used to be called. Mostly you're going to be seeing sinew slivers, muscle sliver, predatory sliver, and kind of a lord dense shell, let's say. Now, I've messed around with slivers for a little bit with Phantasmal Image after the printing of Gale Rider Sliver, but that's a while back now. I really haven't thought too much about it in terms of really testing some stuff. What I liked about that was the synergy between Phantasmal Image and Crystalline Sliver, meaning that your opponent couldn't target the Phantasmal Image anyways. And of course, it gave you access to additional lords such as Sinew Sliver, Muscle Sliver, Predatory Sliver, Plated Sliver, so many of the slivers, giving +1/+1 to your entire team. There's also a critical mass, I would say, of slivers that give flying now with both Gale Rider Sliver, just giving everything flying for 1 mana, and Cloud Thresher Sliver, giving them all haste and flying. What did I just witness there? It looked like a Rite of Flame getting Force of Willed. Okay, so Rite of Flame just stopped by Force of Will. Crystalline Sliver exiled. Significant damage coming in, and Mutavault able to get those +1/+1s as well, as it counts as a sliver, or a single +1/+1. The other sliver there is a flanking sliver. That's going to give -1 any blockers. Defense grid comes down, and now gamble. This could be the game right here. We'll see what Tony grabs. Very often you're going to be grabbing either Echo of Aeons or Lion's Eye Diamond, whichever one you don't have. Of course, if you're looking for Echo, it's pretty convenient, as you can essentially just use Gamble as an Entomb, dumping your entire hand. Lion's Eye Diamond is snagged, and that is likely a disaster. Tony probably has Echo in hand and will be dead shortly to these sliver beatings. That gamble backfires. Seven damage a turn. We could see another sliver come in off of this Aether Vial. It's got to be go time. I can't see his life total, but I mean, it's just got to be Jessica's Will, a new printing. Going to either get mana or get 3 cards from the top of the library. See Echo, also not where you want it, and that is going to do it. Jessica's Will, very dangerous in combination with Echo of Aeons, as your opponent will often end up with 7 cards in hand, particularly if there's a defense grid out, making it so they can't cast spells on your turn without paying that extra 3 mana. And Jessica's Will, just very efficient. 3 mana to get 7 is just on another level. I mean, Seething Song is somewhat playable. Cabal Ritual, I would argue, is a fantastic Magic card. Dark Ritual, very, very good. I mean, fantastic's probably fair. But Jessica's Will, when it works, I mean, that's a whole nother power level. Ruby Medallion, if you're running it, and I believe he is at this point. Later, Tony's gone on to discard Ruby Medallion in his most recent builds, but in this build, I believe we've got Ruby Medallion. And that would basically make Jessica's Will 2 mana to get 7 red, which is just incredible. Huge power level. A Shatter Skull smashing, face down, bolting himself. And a Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. Form of 2 already. Gamble. Likely. Would not be surprised if Echo is the missing card. Might as well use the gamble. Potentially grab another Lion's Eye Diamond. Reasonable line. Get that extra mana while you can. Likely to work out. Echo goes to the bin. And indeed, it is another LED. Activating Metalcraft. And able to cast Jessica's Will. And crack some mana here. Oh no, Jessica's Will just goes to the graveyard. He wouldn't have had enough mana to cast it. So we've got both LEDs being sacrificed, a bunch of mana floating. The Mox has already been tapped for mana. See what this draw 7 does for Tony. All right, able to skip over the shuffling. Echo, really a time twister in this deck. So strong. You know, at this point, I think I just want Mana Drain unbanned. It's pretty close to vintage power level back in the day. Got Time Twister, you got variants on most things. I don't know if it'd be any good, but it'd be fun to see. I feel like 2 things I'd like to see happen with the list. That, and I'd like to see Abeyance work the way it's supposed to. It would need to be banned in non-multiplayer formats, but it's fine. Let it be a commander card. All right, 1 to 6. Galvanic Relay, foil. Crazy how inexpensive those cards are. I think they're like 50 cents or something silly for the old school foil. At least they were at the time. Maybe they finally reflect some type of value, but I mean, the card is very, very strong. And he gets to do something here. Sliver Hive into Aether Vial. Defense Grid. Gonna shut off counter spells for most of the game, but if he can get to 3 mana, he can still force a will pitching a blue card. And there are times where Ruby Storm does just lose to a single counter spell. There are plenty of other times, however, when it can play through a very strong hand. Corruption. Multiple Lotus Petals. Desperate Ritual. Burning Wish. Grabbing a Relay. And looks like just going to go ahead and cast that. Whole bunch of cards exiled. Uncharted territory into a Crystalline Sliver. Jessica's Will. Faithless Looting. Another Defense Grid. We'll see what Tony's able to do here. He's able to preserve his Lotus Petals thanks to Galvanic Relay. Or thanks to Desperate Ritual, I should say. Still plenty of good options, but these cards do need to be played now. You have to actually pay the mana cost. This is not a Mind's Desire. Bergie shows up. Chrome Mox, and now, thanks to Bergie, that's actually making mana, even if you don't imprint anything. Jessica's Will again. See if he opts for mana or for cards. Like mana. And now Burning Wish. The Faithless Looting still to be cast. That will allow Echo to easily be put into the graveyard while digging a little bit. No need to cast this other defense grid. It's currently shut down thanks to it. Another Chrome Mox. Jessica's Will. This time revealing some cards. Desperate Ritual. Much better with Bergie out. Making 4 mana. Now Echo. Ready to spin that wheel. Where will this go? The totally reasonable start. I mean, turn 1 Aether Vial, turn 2 Crystalline Sliver. Not the most explosive Legacy opening, but certainly within the realm of solid hands versus many decks. But Ruby Storm does not really seem very good against Ruby Storm. I am not going to lie. May have been some permission in there as well. But Defense Grid shutting it off. And also, even if he has a hand of Force of Wills, currently not useful. Another Jessica's Will. This time, Bergie's going to come down. Hope that wasn't loud. As Harn fell, Horn of Bounty. A really strong draw engine for the deck. Discard a card to exile top 2 your library. Play those this turn. Anything that gets extra cards into your hand really just keeps getting more and more out of control. A very impressive card. Of course, 5 mana is not nothing as far as investments go. Does some serious work. And there's the Tendrils of Agony. I didn't catch how the mana was made there, but we are on to the next one. Could have been Lotus Petal, could have been an LED somewhere along the way. Those cards revealed might have just been the next ones off of the Horn, but once this deck gets rolling, it gets some serious momentum heading downhill. And we are on to game number 3. Slivers has some interesting synergy, or what would you say? Mutavault is an interesting card when people are actually playing Standstill. Let's put it that way. When it's possible that your opponent could be jamming Standstills, having man lands in your deck is an interesting proposition, as well as Aether Vial. I mean, not casting spells. An opening like this versus a Standstill deck would be a bit of a nightmare, facing down an immediate uncounterable clock, as well as the ability to continually commit to the board thanks to Aether Vial. Tony paying 3 life for the Shatter Skull, smashing. And it looks like he's starting to just go for it already here. Chrome Mox imprinting Jessica's Will. Rite of Flame. We've got some Storm. We've got some mana. Lion's Eye Diamond. Now, when your opponent has opened with Mutavault and Aether Vial, a draw 7 doesn't necessarily feel amazing. But it's going to be a relay for 4. Keep in mind those cards are exiled, so Lion's Eye Diamond gets extra utility there. And how's this for a hate bear? We are looking at Aethersworn Canonist. What an absolute nightmare turn 2 there for Tony. Now he can play the Lotus Petal and the Defense Grid. Get one spell, so maybe Bergie. I guess he could cast the Horn. That is an artifact. But this is rough. We might see a Jessica's Will into the Horn. Drop. Just going to play regular Bergie. Get in the body. It can at least hold off a 2-2 for now. Playing some artifacts. Playing Defense Grid. Leaving Jessica's Will stranded. Let's see what was correct as this goes on. Mutavault swings as a 3-3. Oh, interesting. Caracas is an absolute mess here with Bergie. I don't want to have a 3-3 legendary creature on board when my opponent's playing with Caracas. Much rather have the Horn here. Here where we are in the game state. Jumping ahead a little bit, we've got Gamble. Mana neutral thanks to Bergie, but only going to be able to play one spell this turn. Thanks to the Canonist. Gamble often and Entomb. Certainly where it doesn't feel like a gamble. That's exactly what you want into the graveyard, but here it's going to be a 1 in 3 chance. The wrong thing's going to go to the bin. Looks like a Shatter Skull smashing. More Rainbow Lands. Everything standing up, turning sideways. Bergie bounced. Now 5 mana. Play the Horn. That is an artifact, so we'll see how this goes. Echo not super easy to cast from exile. Can be done. Potentially. Ancient Tomb goes a ways towards that, but is he going to be dead the next turn? Yes. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot to be done there. You can play the LED, play an Echo, but ultimately you're going to need a non-artifact card to get rid of that Canonist, as Hate Bears takes that one down for fee.